Councillors, thank you very much. It's 2 o'clock, I will start. Can everybody take their seats? Gareth, can you just indicate that this audio? Thank you, councillors. Before I ask for a silent prayer, I want the safety protocol to be handled first. Nolan, thank you.
Good afternoon, all protocol observed. Before we start with this business of the day, we need to conduct the evacuation procedure, the emergency exits, council chambers, public gallery, and the evacuation assembly point. Myself will evacuate all council members within council chambers, and Mr. Walters will do the public gallery to a safe destination where we identified the assembly point. All councillors need to follow me. Bathrooms will be on your right hand side. We have a primary and a secondary fire escape within the building. So all councillors must just follow me, and the gallery people will follow Mr. Walters. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. Thank you, councillors. I will now request a moment of silent prayer, and while we do that, please keep in your prayers our councillors that is currently off sick, Councillor Lawani and Councillor Kiribas and Mbani, but the official sick notes in my office and on file. In Councillor Simbimbo is currently in the Eastern Cape. His mom is still in the hospital. Thank you. We can have now a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. Thank you. Official announcements. I haven't received anything, only a request from the Chief Whip of the MCC. Ms. Councillor Jackson, you will be allowed to present. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Alderman Councillors, and all our residents at home. I'd just like to take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to thank the Mayor and SPM as a whole, as well as West Coast Oval Spinners, for hosting the event of the spinning not long ago. I think it was last month. With that, I'd further like to thank you for adhering to the needs of the love for spinning in our community, and I also am quite confident that through that event we were able to see that it is an event that is loved by many. It is also an event which we could use to get some more tourist attractions here, and also at the same time it is an event that in its entirety had a great job opportunity. So thank you so much for that to all our stakeholders. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Thank you, councillors. There is no further announcements. I'm now at the leave of absence. Leave of absence, formal leave of absence is now acknowledged for Councillor Lawani. The acting chief of the ANC in council will be Councillor Omani, Councillor Priofans, Councillor Mbani, and then also Councillor Van Nooy. She has a private matter and I gave a special leave for that to attend to. Councillor Zindimbo is still from the Eastern Cape and we await his return. Amen. And welcome to the acting municipal manager next to me. Our municipal manager is still on sick leave until the 17th of November. Councillors, thank you. With that, I'm going to go on to the agenda. Declaration of interest for this agenda. Councillor Goodson.
Addendum 2, Madam Speaker.
I think we should all declare our interest in addendum 2.
I'm just not taking any chances anymore, Madam Speaker.
Administration, please note that full council has an interest in addendum 2, but as always experienced previously in my term when Councillor Kotze joined us, he never wants to opt to take the increase, so myself and Chief of Volunteer Sina Mamabola will take this deal. We will send that memo to the Minister.
Madam Speaker, just for the record, it was only myself that declared my interest, not the rest of the council. I just want to get
I've had the administration know that full council has an interest. Thank you, Councillor Kotze. Councillors, and now item 12/10, the section 11 for A52D. This is the actual report why we're here today. It's a compliance report that must be tabled in council. And is there any questions, comments, or clarity before we note the report? Councillor Mamabola.
Confirmation of minutes, Speaker.
And we have confirmation of the minutes of the virtual council meeting of the 14th of October. Proposal, thank you, Chief Whip. Secondment. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Is there any inputs on item 12? Questions for clarity? None. Thank you. Can I have a proposal and a secondment, please? Thank you, Executive Deputy Mayor proposed, and the Whip of Council, Councillor Skipper second. Thank you. Item is unanimously adopted. Then at item 13, development charges recalculation. This item will be withdrawn from the meeting. This is an item that will withdraw because the now acting municipal manager wants a legal opinion on the item because the item was long already prepared by the director. Thank you, Director Smith. But Mr. Mehta has forgotten to get a legal opinion to protect council when we make a decision. So it is now fully being retracted because we already asked for a legal opinion and we're waiting the legal opinion. But it will be tabled at the council meeting of the 12th of November. Thank you, Acting Demon. Councillors, then I'm at item 14. The Yankees Club item is back with a proposal. Can I have Councillor Kotze, go ahead. The Yankees Club?
I want to discuss the matter, but let's get it proposed first.
Yes. Your hand was first, so must I allow the group party first?
Now you can allow.
Councillor Panamera, you may speak.
That's it. Special council
No.
Under the order here, special council meetings can you sit and
No, but it's fine. It's fine. It's
You
fine.
don't have to be formal in this.
basically we were skillende order.
Councillors, thank you. Councillor Panamera, you may.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. As good, we support mostly the recommendations that have been made. What we however say is that the people or the residents currently that are renting there should be allowed during this time to transfer their ownership of the mobile unit. We also agree with the 9 years and 11-month lease proposal, which should allow council to get whatever we require or the administration to get all that stuff in order. But notably that we allow those currently, there is a lot of those people that currently are financially in need to make those transfers. So that we allow that to happen. And basically, the other thing was that in the recommendations was that we should sharpen up the, what do you call it? Nee, ik kan hem niet eens bij de Amerikaanse hier naar komen. But access control. What we suggest is that we implement something like a band system where security can identify those that are day goers, with residents, and those that are camping there. They could also sustain financial income to ensure that people doesn't bring additional people in that they don't pay for. Because if you do not have that armband, then clearly security can identify that either haven't paid at the gate. I was there luckily for me, and what I've observed is that mostly the boom gate will be open, which means it's either security to the toilet or is not there. So I can go in, I didn't pay, and no one would know that I haven't paid. So for us, the important thing, like I said, I'm going to emphasize on that, that we allow those that are currently there, which is not going to have an influence in terms of the rental agreements, just that we allow them to transfer ownership of the park homes or the units that they currently have there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor van der Merwe. Councillor Kunze.
Madam Speaker, this is an item that we really should consider with the necessary importance that it carries. I just need to clarify a few things. This is to the director, through the chair. I want to go to the recommendations. B, that the relevant department determine whether the owners of the 115 mobile units are not unfairly benefiting from the municipality on facilities that are supposed to be utilized by members of the public. My question is, if we do find at some stage that they unfairly benefit from this, what are we going to do about it? Because they've got a signed contract in hand. Are we going to alter that? There is consequences in that. I cannot go and change a contract after it's been signed because it's legally enforceable by the lessees. Then secondly, paragraph C, that all existing lease agreements be amended as per clause 4 of the current I know there's a proposal coming to alter the term, but I leave that. I don't know who's going to carry that in. The mayor maybe. But anyway, the proposal or the discussion we had was to limit it to 5 years. But subject to the adherence of the prescribed legislation and policies. And I want to point council to the following. With the emphasis on subject to adherence to the prescribed legislation and policies. And that's to page 157, chapter 4. And I want to read that. It is about the risk of the municipality in this instance is twofold. And I want to go on and say, in the middle of the page, granting of rights to use. This is now a right. Control or manage municipal capital assets is regulated in terms of chapter 4 of the Municipal Asset Transfer Regulations, MATR. In terms of MATR regulations 34.1a or 34.1, a municipality may grant, it's not obligatory, may grant a right to use, control and manage the capital assets only after A, the accounting officer has, in terms of the regulation 35, conducted a public participation process regarding the proposed granting of the right. Now that has not happened. And that the municipal council may, or has, and also subject to the municipal council has approved in principle that the right may be granted. Now that has not happened till today, but I'm sure the sequence of that is important. Then I want to carry on. D, that the market-related rental account be determined by an independent valuer in a fixed-term lease agreements be amended to market value for implementation as from the 1st of July 2025 in terms of the council policy and the relevant legislation. Now I just made a quick call to, in terms of the tariffs that we currently charge. Just to give indication, we're going to appoint now independent valuer at cost to determine the value. What value? We're talking about the land value, not the top structure value. But we already have some kind of indication on the tariffs that we charge for the long-term stays, which is from May to October, subject to certain conditions. And I want to bring it to council's attention that at this moment the long-term stays, they pays about 5,690 rand. This is with the ablution facilities. Ordinary standing place for a caravan or stand for a caravan is 3,414 rand, and a seafront one 3,793 rand. And that should be quite indicative of maybe where we should move. Maybe we should consider those kind of tariffs when instead of doing it an evaluation, because evaluation I don't know where it's going to bring us. Then, in terms of E, the council reaffirms the condition that no permanent residency is allowed. Therefore, tenants are allowed to occupy their mobile homes for 9 months per calendar year, which can include school holidays, as the property is zoned as a resort and the use of the land is intended for short-term holiday accommodation only. Now the question is permanency. What is the definition thereof? The moment that you take occupancy, in my view, is when you have access to that premises. For the person to just move out of the house, but his premises is still locked, his furniture is still there, still falls within the ambit of occupancy. If I rent out a unit, that unit is only vacant when I have the sole access to it as a lessor. But while the lessee has the key and occupies it with his furniture and belongings, it's still occupied. I don't know where and how we can get around that. And where should they go for the 3 months? I mean, there's people living there permanently. I also think in terms of if we create, and we should do something about it, but I think we also create an administrative burden to go and check. And it follows on my previous statement. When are they there? When are they not occupying? And when are they occupying? Madam Speaker, just the last, thank you for the warning, just the last comment on I, that a specialist be appointed to conduct a study related to the current status of the coastal erosion to assist the decisions of the future of the entire Nikki's Klip resort. Now I know that this specific item deals with Nikki's Klip, but as you look at the previous consultants that were appointed, they looked at the entire stretch of coastal line from the yacht club all the way to Nikki's Klip. And I don't want us to engage into piecemeals costing us a lot of money. We should look maybe holistically to it, because it's not only Nikki's Klip, it's an entire area. That when we look at the consultant, that we look at the entire area. But maybe the director could enlighten me on all those queries I have. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Butzer. Any other inputs or questions for clarity before I allow the director to respond on Councillor Scott's questions for clarity? No. Councillor Director.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think, Speaker, let's first start with the papers from the report. I think we want to start with the papers of the report. This is a historical matter. It's not a new thing, but it has happened for quite a number of decades. So the only thing that we are doing here is because there's a change in legislation. And we found that we were actually pushed in a corner in the administration because of how we've been handled. And in particular, the changes in the said legislation. I'm talking about municipal asset and transfer of provisions. On how we handle certain stuff, as well as the recent amendment of the procurement legislation. That one is the one that really made our heads, and we had to start investigating. And our approach was to first consult internally, and we did the intensive consultation internally with the directors to do all the matters, and we consulted with the directors internally with officials to make sure that the report that we are writing it's legally, it's administratively correct. And we also consulted with the representative of the tenants, their association. We consulted with them and a whole lot of processes. It has been a long, tedious process. It affected them, it's affected everybody. Unfortunately, the process that we had before. Let me just deal with the recommendations here. I'm going to go back to the report for the recommendation. First of all, that place is a resort. It is not a residential area. And the reason why we're putting A here is that if you are benefiting, the renter is for the land, and you are staying, those that are, you are staying in a complex, you benefit from the administration and management of that complex, the security and the overheads of running that. I think A refers to that. We're saying that we need to internally determine to say you are benefiting from security, you are benefiting from the upgrade, you are benefiting, there's overheads, there's other stuff that are not in terms of the rent. You will know that if you are staying in a complex, you're not only paying the tax, but you also pay the levy. The purpose of the levy is the running of that thing. That's where we're coming from to say there's administration, there's a whole lot of things that are happening here, security, all those things. That we think it needs to be looked as the benefit that they're getting out of that. So community services need to have a look and say, we are administering this. Is this side benefit, yes or no, in the administration, in the security, in the upgrades, and all other things? Because if you're staying in a complex, you pay the levy, and the levy is for the management and the running of the place. That's what we're saying. The rent does not cover. That's the purpose of it. So community services together with administration would look at that. And remember, you can do an addendum if there must be extra money that must be paid. We can do an addendum in the lease agreement and deal with that. We're going to bring back to council to say, actually, there's no purpose for us for those things. They benefit in terms of the rent, or is there extra benefits that they are getting in terms of that? So I think that's the purpose of A. That's why we're saying to council, we're going to investigate that. And determine. It's quite a tedious process to look at the overheads, to look at all the other things in terms of that. In terms of B, here the legislation is we've brought in a very interesting chapter here, where we've in the investigation of this agreement. It's not something that was just done. It was a legal process that those that inherited it did not understand. They just continued with something that they did not understand. The reason why we're discussing under 159, the 4 forms of property ownership in South Africa, we wanted to have an internal discussion internally to say, what is this? Is this a short-term lease? Is it a long-term lease? Where does this lease fall into? And then we have to look at the freehold. You own a property, you've got a freehold. Then is this a freehold? The answer is no, because they don't own the land, they are tenants. Is this a sectional title? The answer is no, it's not a sectional title. Is this a long-term lease? Is this a leasehold? And when we look at the characteristics of the leasehold, we found that this fits very well with the leasehold, where the land belongs to government or to a municipality, and you're only renting. You're renting the land. You own what is on the land. And we look at the lease agreement, saying you must have a lease agreement, there must be rent and escalation clause, there must be maintenance responsibilities, restrictions and all that. So this is actually a leasehold. And we look at the principles of the leasehold. If it is not a long-term lease. A long-term lease is saying the lease is a leasehold, but it must be more than 10 years. And when it's more than 10 years, then there must be, on the title deed, there must be something on the title deed. But this one, there was nothing on the title deed, they are just tenant. And therefore, a leasehold, normally, it's below 10 years, which is 9 years, 11 months. That's the reason why we're proposing this. It's in terms of the principles of the leasehold. Because remember, this person is investing in that one. He needs to look at his investment. We know that legislation is saying 3 years in that regard. So, Councillor Koza, that's the reason why we at B, we brought in this recommendation that this lease be at least not be 10 years, because council is going to need its land at some point. You don't want your title deed to have this issue on. Hence, we propose 9 years, 11 months, saying it must be less than 10 years. We also look at this, the purpose of this thing was, now, can you transfer? I think that there was something here about the transfer of things. So we said, okay, if you bring it down less than that, somebody buys, you take a loan, and some of them they take bond. At least a bond takes longer for you to get the value of it. And if we are saying people must be given an opportunity if they want to exit, they want to sell, that's what is being proposed here. At least the next person should be able to buy at least that lease, which still got some few years as well, for him or her to enjoy the benefits. So if it's 5 years, Councillor Koza, you buy, you invest in the 2 years, and if it's a loan or your bond or whatever money you take or it's your investment, in 2 years. You stay there for 2 years. When you want to exit, who's going to buy the 2 years for 500 or for $1 million? That's the issue why we said, okay, let's give people enough time. The trick is that in the lease agreement, if council wants its land, it's saying these people can be given 6 months notice. So if there's a council decision before that 7 years, council can exit. It's saying either party can give notice when you want to exit the lease agreement. I think that's just to clarify where we get to. The market-related rent. There was a rent that was in the tariff book. That was administration never implemented. There was a judgment by the rental tribunal to say the rent must be increased. It was never implemented at that time. It only remained the same amount in the tariff book. So what we're saying here is that we need to determine the actual value of the land, and the only person that can do that, hence we're saying that let's get an independent valuer to value the land, so that we can be able to charge. Because in terms of the law, the law is saying council must charge market-related value when you lease a property. And that's the purpose why we're saying let's give us time, because, and you also need to give these people enough, because one of the judges from that tribunal was to say you need to give people enough time if you're going to increase them. So that's why we say the 1st of July will be relevant, so that we can get the market value. Then we'll give them enough time to say by 1st of July the rent will increase by this, will increase by that. Then the permanent residents. When we were doing anything, we found out there were people that were given permission to stay permanent, which is illegal, which is against the lease. We're not supposed to stay there permanent. The purpose there was for holiday, and that's why it was limited to maximum 9 months, not full time. But as it stands now, there's people that were given permission that are staying full time. And what we're saying here is that we as administration will need to put a system in place to ensure that the people are not staying there full time. There's no occupation certificate there. You are a tenant. You're not occupying you are a tenant in terms of the land. In terms of the holiday home, it's yours. So Councillor Kota, the issue of the permanent residence, it's actually illegal in terms of that. You're supposed to be there for 9 months per year. So it's not an administrative burden. We need to, if we want to run this thing properly, we need to run it properly. I'm not sure, Speaker, if I'm leaving anything. That's why we're saying that we as administration must put systems in place to monitor the permanency, so that the permanence, all these things were discussed in the report in terms of where it's coming from. All right, Speaker, the issue that has been quoted by Councillor Potter, which is in terms of the law. No, here we're not going out. Normally we'll come to council. When we're going to lease the land or we're going to sell the land, we'll come to council. The first step you need to get, on a certain day, you get a public participation on a certain period of the land before. But currently there's a lease here. You're not going out to put it in public. Then we'll come to council and get in principle decision. That's why we'll come to council to say, council must allow us in principle. That's the purpose of MAT, which we are quoting Councillor Potter in terms of that. But it's not applicable here now. It's going to be applicable once the council terminates the lease. Then we need to go out on public. We'll bring the report in terms of what we normally do. We'll bring the report for in-principle decision, whether to lease, council must give us that, or whether to go out and sell. I think that what has been quoted here is right. And then the legislation say we must answer certain questions, which is what we normally answer. Is this needed for service delivery, yes or no? And all other questions that we normally answer when we bring a report to council to either sell or to lease. I think that does not apply. It's not applicable here now until council say we're terminating the contract. There's still contract now. All what we're requesting is to amend the contracts to be in line with the legislation. If council terminates those contracts, we give them notice, then the new legislation kicks in that says you must go out in public. You cannot directly sell. You must go out in public, and we follow all those legislative processes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Coates, I note your hand. Chief of Committee.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to call for the caucus 10 minutes.
The Democratic Alliance has requested a caucus. I will allow a 5-minute break, and we will return within 5 minutes, which will be at 14:38. Thank you. But they don't see that.
But now we know what you want, when you look at all the ones that they can know that it's something. And this is my passport of something.
And I guess I'm 062444.
I'll just stop.
Thank you, councillors. We will now resume the meeting. Thank you. The Democratic Alliance has requested a caucus. It lasted longer than was approved. Apologies for that. Can I get a proposal? The second, please.
Madam Speaker, I want to propose the following, but with certain amendments to the recommendations. First, a recommendation to point C, that existing lease agreements be amended as per clause 4 of the current lease agreement, and fixed term lease agreements be entered into for a period of 5 years, subject to the adherence of the prescribed legislation and policies. Also, what I need to bring in there is that within a year of this decision, that administration come to council with options after the contracts had been lapsed, and they would submit from a year from today on a quarterly basis on the progress of that process till the end of the term. And then last but not the least is that in terms of point I, that a specialist be appointed to conduct a study relating to the current status of the coastal erosion to assist with discussions or decisions of the future of the entire coastal stretch, which as is in the previous report, that does not only include Linkies Klip, but the entire coastline stretch, because we can't work on piecemeals. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any other inputs? Councillor Alderman Poon, apologies.
I second that. Madam Chair.
Councillor Benson.
Ik stel voor die full recommendations of the administration. Stel ik voor.
And then a second for that proposal. Second for that proposal, Councillor Vragem has seconded. Councillors, we're going to have to vote on the proposals that is in the agenda and the proposals as amended proposed by Councillor Kutzer and seconded by Alderman Poon. For the proposal as in the agenda, apologies, Chief Whip of the ANC.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Speaker, Councillor Rousseau has been trying to get your attention. She wants to ask a question. Yes.
Afternoon, councillors. Afternoon, Speaker, through you. I have a question now. So I question that the proposal from Councillor Kotze is that the lease agreements be amended to 5 years. What happens to what the director was tabling? That's my question. And then in regards to Councillor Witbooi, you are proposing that the amendment, the recommendations as they are there, and that includes what the director has said. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next question is for clarity. Can I just explain? The reason for the proposal for 5 years is the following.
Yes, I would like to explain that explanation, yes.
This item has been ongoing. I'm the third time consecutive term speaker. It's been here in this council for the third term, still there. Administration has not done anything about it. So we want to limit the time so that the process can be started. Remember, if the process is not completed, that's why Councillor Cox also proposed that the follow-up item will be tabled to the council, say where we are, what is the recommendation going forward, and also quarterly update report to see where is the process, because it needs to be addressed. And that's why, and remember, if at the end of 5 years, it's not concluded, council can again say we give extension to conclude the whole process. Thank you. So, Councillor Rousseau, a follow-up?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I have a follow-up again. This is a very contentious thing. I feel for the people living in the resort, because many of them have been living there for a number of years. But I also understand that they are privileged in essence, that they are not paying for all of these other things that they are benefiting from. So my question to the other side of the table, to Councillor Kotze, who's proposed the 5-year agreement, I want to know, is what the director has said going to be started now in this period of 5 years, or are you going to wait until the 5 years lapses and then decide? Is this going to be implemented in this 5 years? Can I have an answer to that?
I think the director will answer that. Councillor Bedford?
Sorry.
Speaker, my probleem is die antwoord wat u nou gegee het vir raadslid Sarisa Rasul.
Madam Speaker, the answer you gave to the councillor, my problem is the answer that you gave to the councillor.
U moet net versigtig wees van uit my oogpunt uit het u die verduideliking baie bias gegee na die ander kant van die tafel.
Madam Speaker must be very careful, as I've seen that he was very biased to the other side of the table.
I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Bedford. That is your assumption. I merely explained the reasoning behind it, and it's a fair and transparent process which does detail what's going to happen. What's going to happen over 5 years is what will happen over 10 years as well. Chief Whip of the PA.
Speaker, I'm going to be very short. You now said administration failed 3 times.
That was my next question.
No? Whose problem is that, Speaker? It's your problem. Right? That's number one. That's my first statement I want to make. And then number 2. You know what? You know why you propose the 5 years? I think you guys are going to be in trouble with the Constitution. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you for your comment, Councillor Prato. Luckily, administration don't report to me. You are all part and parcel as the oversight over the administration. Councillors, can we vote? Oh, sorry, apologies, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you so much, Speaker. I know that I'm rather late with my input at this point. But speaking on this item in the agenda, and not just this item, but the overview in its entirety, we really need to come back to the drawing board and see what can be done to avoid the constant disappointment through administration. Because it's not only on this item, and we found that administration has failed us in many different committees, of which I will not mention it here because it's not on the agenda. But really, it is something we as council in its entirety have to take back to the drawing board, because we can't continually say that administration has failed us. We are the oversight of administration. So who is actually really failing? Is it administration or is it us as a whole? So this is exactly where we need to put our foot down as council and say that we have a community to serve and stop shifting places.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Can we vote against the proposals, for the proposal in the item by Councillor Bedford, seconded by Councillor Tyler? I can't see because the board is in my way.
Speaker, I just want to clarify so that my report doesn't cause confusion. This is not the report about the results that was council requested many years. This is the report about managing the land and the lease agreement which falls within administration. The report that is being referred to is the general reports that was requested by council that was brought in. It's about the entire resorts. This report is not about management of the resort. It's about managing, which is within my powers in terms of how do I manage the lease and the leasing in terms of that. Hence, it's being brought by me. It's about management trying to make sure that we abide by the legislation that is within administration in terms of management of the land. I just wanted to clarify so that Speaker, my report doesn't cause a lot of confusion. It's not about the results.
Thank you, Director. We totally understand. Can we count the votes now, please? For the amended proposal. Amended proposal. amended proposal. For the proposal in the document. Thank you, councillors. Again, for the proposal in the document, there's 9 votes. For the amended proposal is 13 votes, so the amended proposal will stand. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, then I'm at item 15, stroke 10, municipal buildings, terrains for the Langville to waive the development charges. Can I have a proposal in the second, please? Councillor Williams and Councillor Alderman Koen's hand is also up.
Speaker, baie dankie vir die geleentheid. Speaker, net 'n paar opmerkings voor ek 'n voorstel gaan maak.
Madam Speaker, few remarks before I propose.
Speaker, die proses is nou al long overdue.
This process is long overdue, Madam Speaker.
As ek die report kyk, dan is die al in 2020 goedgekeur.
When I look at the report, it was already approved in 2020.
En vir 4 jaar was daar nog niks gedoen vanaf die munisipaliteit se kant af.
And for 4 years, nothing has been done from the municipality side.
Daar was hoeveel geleenthede aangewend, Madam Speaker, deur die gemeenskap van St. Helena Bay, waar ons die Western Cape Education Department gedruk het.
There were many opportunities from the community of St. Helena's Bay to the Western Cape Education Department, where they put pressure to it.
In ons laaste memorandum wat ons geoorhandig het, Madam Speaker, die 23 Augustus, waarin ons die Western Cape Education Department geremand het vir 'n hoërskool.
Our last memorandum was on the 23rd of August, where we gave Western Cape Department of Education a memorandum requesting a high school.
En Madam Speaker, op die 9de September het ons antwoord gekry vanaf die Western Cape Education Department.
On the 9th of September, we received an answer from the Department of Education of Western Cape.
Waar hulle baie duidelik sê dat hulle het geen beplanning in die toekoms vir die bou van 'n hoërskool, spesifiek in St. Helena Bay.
It was clear that there was no planning of building a high school in St. Helena Bay.
En nou, iewers skielik, ag die Weskaap Onderwysdepartement dit as 'n baie belangrike item.
Now they consider it as an important item.
My vraag is net, wie voel nou vir wie?
My question is, who's fooling who?
Speaker, met dit gesê, as ek baie bly dat die item uiteindelik by die raad is, of hier in die raad is, vir goedkeuring.
I'm very happy that this item is in front of the council to be approved.
En ons as die Good Party wil voorstel, Speaker, dat die item goedgekeur word en dat die proses bespoedig moet word.
We as the Good Party, we will propose that it should be approved and the process should be speed up.
Om die simpele rede, Speaker, soos ons nou hier sit, 95% van ons leerders in St. Helena Bay, net in Langville, in die hele St. Helena Bay, 95%, the applications was unsuccessful. And that is a matter of worrying for me.
The reason I'm saying is that 95% of students in St. Helena Bay, the applications was not approved, so that is a concern.
So, Speaker, in conclusion, wil ek net sê dat, soos ek nou gesê het, gaan ek weer herhaal, die proses moet asseblief bespoedig word, dat die construksiewerk so gauw as moontlik kan begin. Baie dankie, Speaker.
As I've said, Madam Speaker, that the process must be speed up so that the construction can start off.
Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Madam Speaker, I'd just like to say also that we support this, and I would just like to say thank you to you for the letters that you drafted to the Western Cape Department and to Ms. Gaika. And I myself also answered on that and indicated after the demonstration that was by the people of St. Helena of Nangle. I also replied on that, and I'm very glad to see that this item has come to council, and I hope that we see a few more, because schooling, and especially high schooling for our own children, is a huge problem. I suppose everywhere in the West Coast, but everywhere in the Western Cape, but in the West Coast it's particularly nearing crisis stage. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillor Rousseau, I noted your hand.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The ANC would like to say that we congratulated the council that this is finally here. We want to concur with Councillor Witbooi. The ANC has also engaged the WCED in numerous occasions in regards to not having placement for our children, and it is a vast number of children. It is Mrs. Gaika and I have had a few meetings as well. We've discussed this, that there is a huge amount of children that don't have placement, and finally, after this long period of time, this is on the table. And I trust and I hope that this will be the forerunner of other opportunities for our communities that will start running ahead and be brought to council and approved. And I trust that we're going to approve it and that everybody seated here will approve it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rousseau. Councillor America and then Councillor Vragen.
Baie dankie, Madam Speaker, en goeiedag aan collega's. Madam Speaker, ek wil net sê dit is 'n binneke opwindende dag. Dat lê maar sorry. Ek wil net sê dis 'n oorwinning vandag. Dat lê maar 'n hoërskool gaan kry. Maar ek wil hierso vra hoe hierdie gehad was vandag is. Om te kyk na 'n hoërskool vir Langebaan.
I just want to say it's a success today that Home is going to high school. Can you please see to it that
The high school for Langebaan.
Langebaan have a high school too?
Baie dankie.
En geen raadslid Amerika.
Secundaire.
Secundaire. Councillor Vragen.
Almal secondair.
On a lighter note, ek gaan so 20 jaar vat MMC work vir Langebaan. Ek wil net secondair my collega's voorstel dat ek speak.
Thank you, Councillor Vragen. Councillor Jackson.
Speaker, I would just like to at the same time also engage in the enjoyment of my colleagues here today. But on a more serious note, with that being said, we need to urge our communities and our parents at home as well that it has been a tireless process to get us to the point where we can now say, okay, it's a celebration, there's a high school going to be erected in Langville. Let us also encourage our communities to look after those high schools, because it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of money, and a lot of stakeholders to have these things be accomplished and be put into place. So let us also encourage our communities to look after it really nicely, because we wouldn't want to erect another school and that school is already demolished in so many ways because we don't have to look after it. So at the same time, let's encourage looking after our own infrastructure. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, first and foremost, I want to congratulate all the political parties now garnishing for the credit of the school. That on the one side, just on the other side, Madam Speaker, and my colleague here, Councillor Williams, said that, you know, who do we fool? It's actually a no-brainer. I think the reason why it was maybe overseen in the past is St. Helena Bay was not at the pinnacle of development in this country. As you can recall, in a very recent publication, it was indicated that there are actually 4 towns in this municipal area that is under the 10 fastest developing towns in the country. I think St. Helena Bay is at this moment at number 4 and Langebaan is at number 7 if I'm not mistaken. So those are the indicators and those are the forces that triggers those kind of decisions from provincial side. There's also a lot of officials there that sees these things, that work with this information and actually do something about it, and I've got to congratulate them on it. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Then this item is unanimously accepted and adopted. Councillor Williams, I hope your email will also go the same time my email goes to the Western Cape Education Department, giving them proof of the resolution and say, please start with the process. Hulle kan ons maar temporary klas ook opsit voor die gebouw van elkaar. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Williams.
Speaker, ik was bezig met de e-mails zoals die zit. Kan ik maar die school zijn naam bekend maken, Speaker?
Thank you, Councillors. Then I'm at item 16.
Speaker.
Sorry?
Speaker. Mfundisi.
Oh, sorry, what?
Madam Speaker, we all are glad and I'm so thankful for that school that is coming because our children is our priority. But with the school, there's also safety and all that things that needs to come together. So that same council needs to have the same passion to give more money so that we can have more law enforcement and all the things, so that we can make sure that the safety of also our learners is very important. Thank you very much.
What about council? I'm at item 16, the section 116 from the Department of Corporate Services. Can I have a proposal and a secondment, please? Thank you, Councillor Bedboy has proposed secondment. Thank you, Councillor Mabora has second. Thank you. Then I'm at item 17/10. Can I have a proposal for the two members that we must now elect to serve on the committee? Thank you, Councillor Schultz. Councillor Schultz will speak on the items as the chairperson of the Aesthetics Committee also.
Good afternoon, everyone. I propose Mr. Moffat and Mr. Lawson.
Thank you. Councillor Schultz has proposed Mr. Moffat and Mr. Lawson. And I was second.
Sorry, Speaker, because the third person, he was on the committee for 4 years.
Councillor, put your hand must second.
I'm second.
You want to second the proposal? Thank you, Councillor Bedford. Any counter proposals? Councillor Coetzee? No.
No, Speaker, we second.
We second. We agree completely.
Madam Speaker, I just want to maybe comment on that. Madam Speaker, I just have a concern here, and it is applicable on this particular issue. And that is my concern that it came to my attention that the last time that the Aesthetics Committee had a meeting was on the 3rd of August last year. It's almost 14 months ago. And the reason for that, I believe, is because this did not happen what we've done today. So I want to look at the administration now and say this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable that we had a meeting where Section 79 councillor sits, had a meeting more than a year ago because of we're lagging behind on this. We need to address this. This is not going to happen again. Please. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Coetzee. Councillors, then item 18. Item 18 is the report for the SCF, which will go now out to public. And please note that council will also have a special workshop on all inputs and get our inputs also. So can I have a proposal and a secondment for this? Proposed by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Mamabolo. Thank you, Councillor. Item 19, Housing Implementing Agent. Can I have a proposal and a secondment? Councillor Bedboy wants a question for clarity.
From the Good Party, we support this proposal. Hoekom is die proposal support dat die housing projects kan bespoedig raak? Dis hoekom is dit support. En dan vra ek die departement van housing veral die item wat ons nou verby is, dat hulle ook deelneem, dat public grond vir public use gaan. En dat ons housing projects na die CBD's toe kom. En dat shopping centers terug gaan na ons gemeenskappe toe. Om minder public transport en wat sê jy, verstaan? Ek weet waar nog aan te stop.
Apologies, ma'am. Councillor Williams, leaving when he's on the floor. The chief will allow the translator to translate.
The reason here
Councillor
the party proposal for this item is because we want to speed up the process, and that we will ask that Department of Housing should be part of the previous item too, so that the shopping centers can come to the community, and so that the shopping malls come to the community and the CBD. And the housing must go to the CBD.
CBDs.
That's what we want to add, is that it?
No, Speaker, I think.
We're finding afterwards. It's not supposed to disturb you about Councillor Jackson and was first Councillor Williams, and then I will recognize you.
Madam Speaker, the NCC does understand the need of this agent to be appointed. However, I don't understand how we could be overlooking the input of the CFO. Because clearly the financial implications here too is something that is even a concern to the CFO. So we're standing here, we're going to approve it all and all, but yet the CFO is even concerned about the fact that it doesn't give a clear indication as to the budget implications. Because if we are going to then allow this, we need to also think about all the financial implications it has, and when the CFO as the expert in this field gives us advice and we ignore it, it definitely is a red flag for us. So maybe if the CFO could just give a bit more clarity as to why his comment was, which it was in the report. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you for your comment. Councillor Williams.
Madam Speaker, net een vraagje. Die Lengwil 309. Ik wil graag net weten as ek mag. Ik het verneem dat die eerste 50 huise December maand afgegeen moet worden. So ik wil net weten hoe ver dat proces is.
Sorry about that. I know that it's not, but the Deputy Mayor will give you formal, because you can't ask that question here. The municipal manager will respond with regards to the comments of the CFO in the report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We took note of the comments of the CFO, but Councillor, as you can see that at this stage we only want to implement, or we want to appoint the implementation. The aspects regarding human resources, there will always be a division or a component within council dealing with housing matters. So at this stage, the whole purpose is to appoint the implementation agent, but then the aspects regarding the human resources component of the specific housing department will also be part of such a process.
Thank you. Whose hand was still up? The Mayor.
Speaker, I can just reassure the Council and specifically Councillor Jackson, this is not a new concept. It's a concept that is used by many leading municipalities like Mossel Bay, Swartland, because that implementing agent has already got contracts with province. It was done by the Deputy Mayor exactly like that, so that we can speed up the process, that every time this thing is slowed down, we got to get, and we've tried to get our level up, but that takes time. So there's accreditation, and it takes too much time, and we're falling behind. So there was a lot of thought behind it, and the leading municipalities in the Western Cape are using exactly the same system to huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Councillor Song.
Madam Speaker, the ANC is very chuffed that we are taking this initiative, but I have the same concerns as Councillor Jackson that the CFO, who is exempt in his work, has got this concerns. For me, in the future, are we not going to have concerns where there will be no budget, and then it will be a problem that there will be no housing again? Can we have, Deputy Mayor please, through the Speaker, can we please as the opposition and everybody else, have examples of these wonderful municipalities that are using this, and we can see that it works, and that their housing, in fact, is advancing, and that they're not in arrears with development, etc. I would like to see that, because as far as I know, quite a lot of the municipalities across the Western Cape do not have adequate housing and are lagging behind with no housing. So that is the concern. Can we please have that in black and white so that we can see and understand? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. I'm sure if that can be provided, it won't be a problem because it is successful, not even here, not just here, but also in all the other provinces. That is far beyond what we are doing here.
Like to see it, ma'am. Thank you.
So there's a proposal and it was seconded. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Then I'm at addendum 2. Sorry, addendum 1.
Speaker, come to council.
Apologies, I'm just waiting on my computer to get where I am. This is for the section 116 of the Langwell wastewater treatment with bulk pump, sewer pump station. And we have it here. Can I have a proposal and a secondment? This is important. Councillor Mamabora has proposed. The Mayor has seconded. This is a compliance item so that the work can continue in Langwell with the work. Thank you. Addendum 2 will have to be withdrawn because the office of the MEC has informed my office that because this concurrence of the 2024 upper limits is so close to the one that was just approved last week, there's a stipulation that says this upper limit replaced the previous one. It is in contradiction of the law and we're currently getting a legal opinion on it. The item will come back on the 12th of November after clarity has been received. I can also announce that the MEC as the previous item is with his office and I might get the signed documents tomorrow. So councillors, this one will be referred back to be dealt with on the 12th of November. Apologies for that. Oh, you received? Oh, the director has informed the MNC has sent the concurrence for the first approval. But the back pay will only be paid out next week after the salary.
And that's for 2023 and 2024 has been sent back.
Addendum 3 is the performance management. Top player is the BIP. This is for notification but also very important document. Any questions for clarity before I ask the proposal for a recommendation and a secondment to note? Councillor Williams, will you propose?
Yes, Speaker, I propose.
Thank you. Alderman Good, will you second? Because you two are chatting with each other. Councillors, thank you very much. We have dealt with all the items in front of us. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.